Hello everyone, my name is Prashant and the topic for the today's video is cleaning up old AMIs, and this we are going to do with the help of Boto3. So I think most of you who is using AWS must be aware of what is AMI or Amazon Machine Image, and in the layman term it is just the image which is used to boot your operating system. Like earlier you used to have a DVD or a CD where you used to keep the operating system image, and these operating system image can be of Linux and maybe Red Hat or Ubuntu, or it may be a Windows, or maybe the AWS provided AMI. Now in most of the organizations you have some kind of a automation process, like with the help of a packer, or now we have the AWS AMI builder, through which you are constantly creating these AMIs. And one of the main reasons for that is to take a backup, or in case if something goes bad, you need to revert to the known good state. And because of this continuous CI/CD process, your AWS bill will shoot up because your AMI is going to take up that much amount of a space. Okay. So it's always a good practice to clean up these AMI on a regular basis. Okay. So with enough context in place, let's start working on the Boto3 script. Okay. So first step we are going to do is, obviously we are going to import the Boto3, right? Now the other thing is we need to decide whether we are going to use the client or a resource to handle this kind of a problem. And if you see in my previous video, the main idea for me for creating these kind of videos is to show you how to approach to these kind of a problem. Rather than trying to solve the problem, if we understand how we approach to these problems, it is much easier for us to tackle these problems in future. Okay. So we have two options. Either can create a client or a resource. And I already created few videos related to this Boto, what is the difference between a client and a resource, and in which condition we can use client versus the resource. So please watch these videos if you do not understand the difference between a client and resource. I will add the link in the description of this video. Okay. So for the first thing we need to decide, so okay, let me show you with the help of gedit. So first thing we need to decide when that AMI will be created. Okay, so we need to get the AMI age. Okay, let's say today is June 30th. So let's say that AMI is created on June 20th. Okay, and similarly we need to find it out the today's date. So we need to find out today's date, and today's date is June 30th. And then based on our organization policy, we need to subtract these values. So for example, this June 30th minus June 20th will give us 10 days, right? So 10 days ago we created that AMI. Okay. Then, like I said, based on your organization policy. So let's say in your organization you have a policy that AMI cleanup days is equal to 7, which means after every 7 days you need to clean up the AMI. Okay. So I mean, it's completely depend upon your organization requirement. So if this is greater than 7, I mean the difference of these two is greater than 7, then we need to write a code to clean up that AMI. And in case of AWS function, that is called something called deregister. Sorry, REGISTR. We need to deregister that AMI. Okay. So first task for me is to find it out when that AMI will be created. Okay. Like I mentioned, the AMI age or the date which the AMI is created is June 20th. So I need to find out how to find out that date. So for that, I already imported Boto3. Like I mentioned, I'm going to use the client for this, because after doing my own research, I find it out that in case of a resource, there may be a way to find it out all this information, but it is much easier for me to write this code in case of a client. Okay, so I can use Boto3 dot client and dot ec2. Okay, so I create a client object. Okay, the next thing is to find it out the AMI information. Now for that, go to Boto3 official documentation page, available services. If you scroll down, you see EC3, then client. Okay, and here you need to search something called describe images. Okay, so let's wait for this page to be loaded. And if you scroll down, further, here you go. Okay, sometimes this is too slow, so please be patient about it. Okay, so as you can see, we are going to use the client to describe the image, and these are the options, which is, this is a required syntax. Okay, so let me write this, and I'm going to use my own variable called myAMI client dot describe images. Okay, and that's it. Okay, let's start from here. And if you try to print this, print myAMI, and let's try to execute this code, Python 3 cleaning old AMI. And if you try to execute this code, this will take a lot of time to be executed. And the reason for that, if you go to the AWS console, this is my AWS management console. If I go to the EC2 service, okay, and AMI, here you can see the AMI which is owned by me. Okay, and there is something called public images. So what this code is trying to do, where is that? This guy is trying to get the list of all these public AMI also. Okay, so I don't want to waste your time. Let me cancel this. Okay, and if you go to their documentation again, there is an option called owners. Okay, so in the owner section, put as self. So here I will put owners is equal to self. Okay, and then try to execute this code again. Okay, so here you will get only the one AMI, and that AMI is this DED, and that's the private AMI. That's the AMI which is created, owned by me. So if you see DED and DED, okay, and as you can see, this is a dictionary, so I can further filter it down. Okay, so owner, self, and then I will get images and try to print it again. So now I have a list, and inside the list I have a dictionary. Okay, so that means I can iterate over it. So what I can do for AMI in my AMI, okay, I first need a creation date. So when this AMI will be created, and that is our main task, right? This is what we have discussed. We need to find out when this AMI will be created. So if you scroll down here, and if you scroll here, you will see something called creation date. So that is the value we need to pass out of it. So let me take a variable called creation date. Okay, and then AMI, and because this is our dictionary, I can take creation date as key. Okay, so this is the first variable we got. Okay, and the second thing we need is the AMI ID, which is this one. So let me take another variable called AMI underscore ID, and again AMI and this image ID. And then let's now try to print both of these. So I will print creation date and AMI ID just to verify it. Okay, so we got this creation date and AMI ID, right? So far so good. Now if you see the output of this command, right, we are getting some string in the form of like today's date and then the time and all those information. Now okay, let's wait here. So now I got this information. The second thing is we need to find out the current date. Okay, and to find out the current date we can use something called date time. So I already spoke about these in my previous video. So what you need to do is import date time and then datetime dot datetime dot now. Okay, so we will get the current date. So same thing I am going to use in my code. Import datetime, right? And let me try to use one variable called current date is equal to datetime dot datetime dot now. Okay, and let's print this current date just for our own verification. So we'll get this current date. Okay, so let's remove this. Okay, now one thing you have noticed that the date time we are getting in this format and the one which we are getting from the output of this creation date is something different. So what I can do, either I can convert this date time into a format similar to this, or I can convert this into the format that similar to date time. So I will do the opposite thing, and for that I'm going to import a module called from date util. Okay, from date util dot parser, parser, import parse parse. So I'm going to import this from date util, right? And what I can do here, I can do creation underscore date underscore parse, okay, and parse underscore the same variable I'm going to pass, and there is one more I need to pass it called replace, and time zone info is equal to none. Okay, let's print this and then I will show you what exactly I mean. It will be much clearer for you when I'm going to print it. So let me do this. TZ equal to none. Sorry, it should be capital N. Yep. So now you can see we are getting this output similar to what we have got via the time zone info. The date time. Okay. This guy. So now we got this current date, we got this creation date pass. So now I need to calculate the difference in terms of days. For that, I simply need to subtract the creation date with creation date pass. Okay, and let's print the difference of both of these. Okay, so in that code I figured out the small issue that I was doing. Here if you see, I'm passing the creation date. It should not be a creation date, it should be a current date. Okay. And in the process of debugging that issue, I clean up all the others AMI which is present in my account. So now I only have one AMI which is created less than 1 day ago. Okay. So I may not be able to show you this complete code, but I will show you what is the workaround for that. Okay. So now if you try to print it, clean old AMI, you will see the difference. It should be in like hours or something. Okay. So now we got this difference in terms of days. Okay. Now the next step is you need to find it out if this difference in days is greater than your organization policy. So let's say I am defining a variable, and actually let me format this in a better way. So this should goes here. This should be the first thing, then this, and max AMI age is equal to, let's say, 1 day. So if this value is greater than max AMI age, okay, then I will write something called print cleaning old AMI greater than 1 days. Okay, and then we will this much. Now the question is how we are going to clean up those AMI. Okay, to do that, once again go back to the Boto3 documentation, and here you will see something called deregister image. Okay, if you open that, okay, once again this page is little bit slow, so please wait for this page to be loaded fully. This is the response. Okay, so let's copy this, and I'm going to use this client. I'm using the same variable, then deregister image ID equal to this AMI ID. Okay, AMI ID, and dry run equal to true or false. This is always a good practice to see if your code is working fully fine before we are going to implement this in production. Okay, so let's execute this code now, and we have the dry run equal to true, so that means it's not going to clean up, it's just going to print out the value. Okay, datetime.delta. So client.register image different days is equal to this. Okay, so actually with difference in days we only need our days. So let me do one more thing. As you can see here, we are getting this value. Okay, so first let me get only the days out of it and print the diff in days. Okay, and then execute this code. So as you can see, it's 0 because this AMI is even less than 1 day old. Okay, let me uncomment this and try to execute this code again. And like I mentioned, the dry run equal to true, so this code is not actually going to be executed. Okay, so print so if diff in days is greater than max AMI age, which is not, right? It is 0, which is less than max AMI age. So that's why you're not seeing this code to be executed. But you can, in your case, if you have an AMI which is greater than 1 day old, you will see a message printed in your screen. Okay, So this is little bit about how you can going to clean up all the AMIs in your system which is not in use. And like I mentioned, it's always a good practice to save up the space as well as your AWS cost. Okay. The second thing is, like all of my previous videos, this is one version of a code. You can always enhance this code. I mean, this is one way to write this code, but as you can see, this code has some limitation. The first limitation is I'm only parsing the AMI in one region. What will be the case if I have a AMI which is present in a different region? For example, this is in Oregon region, but let's say I have a AMI which is present in other region also. So try to enhance this code based on other region. Okay. The other thing we can do is to break this code into two parts. One part is where we are getting all these values like your creation, your AMI ID, your creation date. And the second part is just to write a separate function where we are calculating this date time and date util. Okay. So I will add that code in the description of the video, but please first try to create it by yourself. And if you stuck somewhere, please write down in the comment section. Okay. So basically this cleanup an old AMI is a simple process. You first need to find it out when this has been created. Your AMI will be created with the help of this function called describe image. Okay. Then you can calculate the difference in the date with the help of this date time as well as date util. Okay. Once this has been done, you just need to run something called deregister image to deregistering your image. Okay. So thanks again for watching this video. If you have any question, please write down in the comment section. I will try my best to answer that question. Okay. So thank you.